Hi, I'm Bert Sheffield of Heart Horse Dressage, and I thought it would be really interesting to do a few videos about how I start the young horses doing lateral work. There's many different ways to start the horses doing lateral work, but I thought I would document my 5-year-old starting to learn this work. Nardando he's been kind of doing some schoolwork now for a few weeks, and here I am on our first session where I'm introducing the idea of lateral work as a sort of standalone concept. So I'm asking him to respond to the leg closest to the wall. I want him to cross over both his front and his hind legs and find a little bit of rhythm, and to think about what I'm asking him to do rather than to panic or freeze up. This kind of along the wall leg yield sort of exercise is the first exercise I use with the young horses, as it is a really good way of explaining to them the meaning of the aid, and they're not completely stuck. You can let them run along the wall a little bit and find that rhythm. As you can see, he's starting to get the idea and give me some nice steps. I'd like the angle to stay a little bit more consistent. I would like him to be more accepting of both ways rather than he finds one way easier than the other. But for the first day's work, I think he's doing phenomenally. I'm so pleased with him. He's done some lateral work on the ground as groundwork, and I think that's why he's making pretty nice progress. So here's the second day that I've worked on the lateral steps with Nardando. You can see we've got a change of outfit today, and the lighting is better, but he is also being a complete superstar. You can see he's trying to understand me. He's really being patient about trying to do what I'm asking him to do. It takes a lot of trust from a horse to keep trying even when they're a little bit confused. But he's giving me some really nice steps. You can see here he says, no, I don't get it, I'm going to resist. But this kind of resistance is very much baby resistance. There's no malice in it. He's not trying to be bad, he's not trying to make a mistake, he's just confused and he's struggling with his balance. It's like if you're not very good at standing on one leg and someone telling you off for falling over. You can't be cross with him, he's still trying. You can also see that when he's yielding to my left leg, he's much better at giving me bend than he is at giving me angle. You'll see when we go the other way, he's much better at giving me angle and not so much at giving me bend when he's yielding from my right leg. So here we've got some lovely steps from the beginning. It's weird how with baby horses they often seem to like pick a side of the arena or pick a corner of the arena where they get it, and one place in the arena where they don't get it at all. But here he's really trying. He seems to have got it on that side, and then I'm letting him stretch. You can see how much he's having to use his body in these steps, because as soon as I relax the rein he just drapes himself to the floor. And you can also see he's not mentally tense. He's quite relaxed. So here we have another go. Now he's going to yield off my right leg. You can see he immediately, I ask him, he says, I can't do it. And you have to just sit there really quietly and say, yeah, you can. Give it a try, mate, you can do it. And then he gets himself in a little bit of a pickle. When he gets too much angle, it becomes too difficult for him. So my job as a rider is to try to guide him to not have too much angle, but to still have him yielding to my inside leg, which in this case is my right leg. So here we go, he's getting a better idea of how to respond to the balance of the aids. I don't really mind if he goes above the bit. I'm not trying to pull his head down or anything like that. I'm not really trying to influence the frame. The frame will improve as he lifts his back, as he finds his rhythm, as he accepts the aids that I'm putting on. You know, I don't have to fiddle with the contact. He'll come back to it. You know, it's not a big problem. And you can see as soon as we stop asking for the sideways, he relaxes down into a nice medium walk frame. It's only when I ask for the sideways that he starts to get a little bit up against my hand. And then he gives me some really nice steps here at the beginning. And then he gets himself into rather a bit of a conundrum. He puts his head behind the pillar on the outside of the indoor arena. Now, I like to fix this kind of issue in the same way as I fix mountain block issues or loading issues. I don't take the horse away from the situation. I fix it within the situation. So you sit quietly, you go, oh, what are we going to do about this? What do I need to do? I need to move your front end. I need you to back up a little bit. I need you to move your front end. You don't take the horse away. It'd be very easy to take the horse out of the situation and then the horse hasn't learnt as much. But you can see with Nardando there, I just really quietly just went, no, that's not the best idea. Let's try something different. And here's his best steps yet. Yielding from my left leg. He's showing a nice little bit of bend. I only have the reins short enough to enable me to influence the position of his body. I try to have them a little bit longer and a little bit longer as we go through this work. If I was doing it on one key, I would have really long reins because I can ride this more off my seat. But in the beginning, you're riding it more off your limbs, and then the seat takes over as the horse gets more proficient. Now I've moved on to riding a little more of a line-to-line leg yield across a little diagonal line across the school. You can see he is wobbling all over the place. He hasn't got the security that he had when he was against the wall. So we have back end goes sideways, front end flops along, back end goes sideways, and it's the same exercise but in a different setting. And you can see he's very, very green, but he's tried really hard and now he's stretching beautifully, letting his back relax, letting his mind relax. And here we go. We're going to do a few steps of a line-to-line leg yield across a diagonal line towards the middle of the school. And he's going to be a little bit confused. Most horses have a tendency to get sucked towards the walls of the indoor school. So leg yielding away from the wall can be more difficult. I find it helps to keep them straighter when you leg yield away. When you leg yield towards, the horses are more likely to fall through the outside shoulder and just zoom away on a sort of floppy diagonal line. Here we're starting this leg yield to the right from my left leg. He's giving me better steps this time. He's still wobbling, the angle's varying, but this is his first time doing this work. So I think he's making a really good effort. We keep rewarding him by allowing him to relax and stretch and relieve those muscles, because his brain muscles are working as well as his body muscles. We want to keep him happy and content with the work. Now I'm just picking him back together again. I'm going to see if I can do a sort of walking turn on the forehand. Now you can see the rhythm goes dodgy, because he gets tight and tense as he doesn't quite understand what I want. But he does do the basic essence of the exercise. His back end does a much bigger shape than his front end. Now I'm going to do the same thing against the wall. You can see he does much more of a classic turn on the forehand. So he's done a really good job there. That was a really good first attempt, so give him a little pat, and then I'm going to pick him back up together again in a second. I'm going to see what happens if I attempt that the other way. Just need to sort of make the steps a little bit smaller. He's not so keen on that. And then moving him around. These lateral steps help to teach the horses how to make the steps smaller. They are access into the collected work as well. And then here we go, we're really stretching, we're having a really nice, relaxing, good cool down stretch as we're finished for the day. That was the end of our second session ever doing some lateral steps, so I'm really pleased with him. I think he was a really good boy.